Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, this is the visual guide to the Season 3 patch of Street Fighter 6. It's a pretty dang big patch, and every single character in the game has been affected. Some more than others, and just to note out of the gate, if you want to check the full patch notes, I'll have them linked for you in the video description. Otherwise, well, we're going to go through every character in the game. Some changes are fairly minor, to be honest, and some are very literally game changers that will shake up the tier list in major ways. But everyone's got some changes. Now, to note before we get into it, and of course, naturally, everything will be timestamped, so you can skip forward to whatever makes sense for you. And of course, hey, leave a like for timestamps. Thank you very much. We have a lot of changes that don't necessarily bear much discussion. Like, there's a lot of small bug fixes, or like just so minute of a change that doesn't bear full discussion versus some like very big things like new combo routes or new properties or stuff like that. So I won't hit every single thing, as not every single thing is worth discussing. Once again, if you want all that, it's in the patch notes. Also to note, modern controls have hit some pretty major changes. So modern, pretty much everything about jumping attacks has changed, so you can now access every single jump attack. And there's a lot of very specific modern changes per character that will be listed in the patch notes. So if you're looking for specific modern only changes, that's all in the patch notes as well. We won't cover it in this video. We're going to cover more of the generalized stuff. And that said, we're going to go into it now. Before we do anything character specific, however, there is some pretty fairly big universal changes that affect everyone in the game because of how core system mechanics now work. So let's start with that. There's also a good amount of semi-universal changes, as in changes that are not necessarily the same character per character, but stuff like very good poke buttons, right? Many of the better poke buttons in the game now have more recovery attached to them. So if they attack and you whiff, the opponent will have a better chance to whiff punish your button. It's going to be different character to character, and we'll get to them as we get to them. But just as a note, generally, it's going to be easier to whiff punish some of the bigger buttons in the game. But now, I guess let's start with a major change, and that is a change to how parry and perfect parry works. So you understand the idea of perfect parry, you know? You do the very well-timed parry, you get the slowdown effect, and you get whatever combo you're going to get, right? It's still in the game, that hasn't changed, but how you get it has now changed. So before, all you had to do was parry at the right moment, specifically within 2 frames of the attack that's coming your way. And now you have to do that still. The timing element hasn't changed at all, but you must also correctly, quote unquote, block the right way. So if the move is a mid, an overhead, or just some kind of high attack, it must be, quote unquote, stand blocked. So you must hold back and then parry if you want that perfect parry timing. So that'll still work because I was holding back. However, that was perfect parry timing and it made that noise, but that didn't give us the big screen effect because I wasn't holding back. Now, much the same. So mids, overheads, and highs, I'll have to be back, like hold back and then parry for the perfect parry timing. Anything that is a low must be down backed and parry for perfect slowdown timing. So here we are, right? You can see the slowdown effect just fine because I was holding down and back. If I were just to parry it regularly, that is perfect parry timing, but I was not holding down back. Therefore, I do not get the slowdown effect. So why has this change been made? Because honestly, even though perfect parry, it's difficult to do. You know, it's very strict timing, sure, but it's a bit too catch all. Say, for whatever reason, there was an ambiguous cross-up coming my way. I'm not sure if the opponent's actually going to hit me left or right. I didn't have to know because parry gets both sides. And if I was lucky to hit parry at the right moment, I would get the time stop effect, right? But now, in that situation, I had to correctly block. So I had to know which way they're going to wind up. Otherwise, I would just get a regular parry effect. So the idea is just to kind of stop the catch-all situations. And some characters were disproportionately affected by it because their offense wasn't very layered, right? They do big hits, but it's not tricky. And now by just forcing you to guess either high, mid, overhead or low, that when you block or perfect parry, now it just doesn't catch literally everything. You know, you'll still correctly parry, if you don't get the right direction, but you won't get that perfect parry and turn the tables. So long story short, perfect parry still works the exact same way, other than you have to quote unquote block the right direction while you're doing it to get the time slow effect. And that means you're going to get overall a lot less perfect parries. Now, another big change is how throw techs work. Now, I don't mean to break your heart here, but yes, throw loops are still very much in the game. Although several characters, and we'll get to it when we get to it in the various sections, their offense after a forward throw isn't as overall strong as it used to be. Either the throw loop is worse, or the layered option on top of the throw loop is worse. So the throw loops for several characters like say Ken is not as good. And it would appear in this early stage anyways that our newcomer Elena has no throw loop at all. So it could very well be now throw loops are going to be more of a character to character thing. Like say Dee Jay does it as good as ever, but newer characters going forward might not have them. And certain characters will have theirs kind of curtailed or just changed up a little bit. So it's more of a character specific trait versus a bland, the majority of the cast can do it pretty well. But anyways, throw techs. So throw tech is, when you're in the throw loop situation, almost the worst option, honestly. Like it's better to backdash or jump or try to do like a specific air. Like teching the throw is almost the worst call. Now, however, there's at least a decent size reward to it. So have a gander here. What happened here? Let's take a look. So when the defender techs a throw, they now gain a full drive gauge, and they also gain some super meter. So if you correctly tech a throw, and this is anywhere on the screen, and we're just using throw loops as a base, anywhere on the screen, but if you correctly tech a throw, you get a significant reward as far as resources go. So making that scary call to tech the throw, because shimmies are a thing in the game, right? Now will give you an actual material advantage in the gameplay. So making that a lot better overall, and that's really nice. So throw loops, at this point, if they're not done with them now, they're staying. They're here for the long haul. But I'm guessing, but it would appear they're trying to make it a bit more character tailored. So some characters like Mai's is as good as ever, but some people like Rashid or Ken, theirs got nerfed a bit. So the options they get, either the throw loop itself is not as good, or the layered options from it are not as good, right? So it could be more of a character-to-character trait versus a blanket thing going forward. Now, let's talk Luke. I actually would normally start with Ryu, but Ryu is got so many just insane changes. I feel like we got to build up to a little bit. So let's start with Luke instead. So Luke's got a lot of smaller changes, like many characters, like Crouch Light Kick, right? So it's now 0 on hit. So if it's 0 on hit, that means on a drive rush, it's +4. It's also now -3 on block instead of -5 on block, which means if you drive rush with it, it's now plus on block. Hey, that's nice. Stand heavy kick. So this guy got the hurt box around the feet put upwards in the later frames. What does that mean? Well, it means you can go over a lot of lows a lot easier now, right? It's not going to be perfect. There's still an element of timing needed. But if someone's just doing a lot of low spam at you, like that is an option on the table. Just easier to go over lows. That's nice. Another fun change here, back heavy kick. So back heavy kick is another one where the move has been changed on block. So it's now -3 on block from -5, which means if you drive rush, it is now +1 on block instead of -1 on block. Also, if they do block, there's less pushback on block, so you can use that -1. So if we look at before the patch, have a notice here that it is negative on block and the pushback's much greater, right? So not only do we get to enforce, and we literally don't have a plus frame anyways, and we're pushed out. So now you get a layer of offense you didn't have before. Also, editor's note here, I'm very proud of this, by the way. I have this in real time, new patch and old patch. And I don't know, it took a bit to set up, but it's pretty cool. So that's nice. More fun changes here, specifically the medium punch target combo. So this has been changed up so he gains a good amount of more drive gauge. Specifically on the 3rd and 4th hit, and now just gets, more drive gauge, right? So the 3rd hit now almost more than doubles. The drive gauge gets 1,000 units, and the final hit goes from 500 units of drive gauge to 2,000. Also, the knockdown's a bit better. Notice here it is +34 4. And if we go to the other build, which once again here, it's a pretty slick here deal. Notice here, it is plus 33. What's the difference? Difference is this. So I could dash forward, go for that heavy kick, and like it hits super immediate, and that's good. That's great even, right? But if we do this and instead go here, it hits on a later active frame. So now it's more advantage. And just because it's just slightly more advantage, oh, we get that screen shake because it's plus on block now, right? So on top of you just getting more drive gauge, it now gives you a whole new layer of offense. You can dash after the fact, and you will get a guaranteed plus frame if they block that stuff. And if it hits, whatever, you get a combo anyways, sure. That's great, even. But now you just get more pressure. So good addition to a mildly useful target combo. Now, Sandblast got a bit of a buff. This is all the versions here. So one, the hurt box before he starts up is just reduced a little bit. So it's a little more difficult to hit him out of it while he's doing it. So maybe not 1-to-1, but think sort of like Akuma doing a fireball. And a small change, but now does slightly more drive gauge damage on block. So if you're just looking to chip people out or just drain people's resources, it's literally better at it. So that's nice. Much the same here, the enhanced version now also drains more drive gauge on block as well. And you know the enhanced version has the follow-up, right? So here's what's really cool. So the follow-up can now be much more delayed. You can delay it by 5 frames more than it was before. So it's not like forever, but you get the option to like really just hang on just a little bit, right? So if you're looking to like mess with people's rhythm, you can do that. And also the actual follow-up attack as well, the second shot, now is also faster. So you can delay the follow-up by 5 frames, and the actual attack now, the second attack, is 4 frames faster. So it used to be 12 frames, is now 8 frames. So basically if you delay it, comes out roughly the same time anyways. But say if you go for it max speed, it comes out, it'll hit the enemy quicker, and it just adds more layering to it. I think that's great. Now, you know what's legitimately great. Great. Do you like ease of use? I like ease of use. You know why I don't play Luke? Because I suck at these combos. I suck at the, like, you know, the charge flash knuckle combos and need the perfect timing, right? Because I screw it up, or, well, like, I always screw it up. Now, look at this. I'm going to hold it all the way. No perfect timing, right? So now, I still got the combo. What's going on? It shouldn't work that way. Whoa, let's go back to the old build. If I do this, that ain't no combo. Like, it'll combo in that the charge flash knuckles 2 hits by itself, sure. But it won't do 3 hits like it will on the current build. As you can see here, it's going to be 3 hits. Because what's going on is the move's just a single frame faster, because normally the perfect version is a frame faster, right? So now it'll always work. So if you get the perfect timing, you'll get more damage, sure. That's the reward now, is you get more damage. But if you're slow, bad, whatever, these combos now work even if you charge it all the way through. The reward is now with perfect timing, you get more damage, which admittedly is a good reward in and of itself. That's one you should be aiming for. But if you suck at the timing like I assuredly do, then you'll still get the combos. So that's really cool. This is specifically for the medium version. So like the light version is unchanged, but the medium version now is just a lot easier to use. Also, just kind of keeping with quality of life stuff, juggle potential for light uppercut in the corner has been increased. So now you can do something like this. And basically, hey, more damage and combos, right? And that's just an example. I'm sure you can figure out more stuff on your own, but that's it. And one final tiny, like legitimately tiny change, but change is nice, right? So the command run, specifically the enhanced command run, that is, the flippy kick from it's now safe on blocks, -3. You definitely lost your turn, but you are safe on blocks. So that's nice. So Luke, I don't think he's going to quite dominate the game again or nothing, but like this is all just very solid quality of life changes across the board. Now, Jamie. Jamie's actually got some of my favorite changes in this patch. They're always seemingly kind of scared to give him huge buffs, but he actually just got a huge buff. So stand medium punch, right? Stand medium punch is already one of his golden buttons because it's 8 frames and it's +2 on block, right? So like it's always golden, right? Now it's +6 on hit. What does that mean? It means it naturally goes into crouch medium punch. Like no fuss, no muss, no counter hit, no, like it just works. So that's really strong that he gets like more of like a Street Fighter 5 style Link, you know, like no counter hit, no nothing, just like stuff just goes, right? So that's excellent. Also, if it's +6 on hit, that means it's +8 on counter hit, right? And what's 8 frames? Oh, crouch heavy punches. So that means now he also has a new counter hit combo as well. So if you think people are going to mash against your stand medium punch, you can now just go into heavy, or rather crouch heavy punch as well. So this alone is, I think, a pretty sizable change. It's like literally just changing a frame, right? But you get a lot off this 1 frame change. Also, stand medium kick, widely heralded just as one of his better moves, right? Because it is drive rush cancelable, right? And it's now 9 frames instead of 10, so it's a frame faster. So good move got better in that way. Now, like many other pokes in the games, it does have a bit more recovery. It has a frame more recovery, and kind of has a worse hurt box overall. But that's not unique to Jamie. That's all the good pokes in the game for the most part. Otherwise, your good move got faster. Great. Speaking of which, good move. So stand heavy kick is now +3 on hit instead of +1 on hit. So once again here, this, you know, there's no 3 frame moves or nothing, but this just leads to more fun things you can do. Like say old build, stand heavy kick in the breakdance. That ain't comboing because, well, he doesn't have the advantage. Now, stand heavy kick, because it has that extra frame of advantage, or 2 frames, will combo in the breakdance. So more combo opportunities. Crouch medium punch is another button here. So more recovery on whiff. Once again, this is pretty universal. All your good poke buttons are going to have more recovery, 2 more frames of recovery, slightly worse hurt box. Not unique to Jamie. That's fine. Oh, you mentioned crouch heavy punch. It is 8 frames again, once again. It used to be 9. We just talked about it a moment ago, but kind of putting the cart before the horse on this one. But yeah, so it's faster, right? So a lot of things Jamie's are doing a lot faster and better. Also, the crouch heavy punch change, due to it being 8 frames now, command grab, regular non-EX version, is 8 frames. So therefore, that's all a combo now, right? So he can get quite a bit more off the regular non-EX command grab, which once again, buff, buff, buff. Okay, now this one, I'm admittedly a bit embarrassed. I had no idea. So, like, you do Rekka go to level 3, right? Apparently, he couldn't do that before. What? I thought he could. Like, why wouldn't he be able to do that? That makes sense to me. Apparently, you do, like, the first hit before. But, like, if you did the whole Rekka, like, you couldn't at all. And, like, what? That's so stupid. I didn't know it worked that way. I just assumed it would, like, because why wouldn't it? EX Rekka also now goes into level 2 Drink Super, which can be interesting. At bare minimum, you can do it, drive rush after the fact, do a light kick into like heavy palm or something. I don't know. I'm not a Jamie player, but that's an option. And also, it is very strong on block. So if you do this on block, go to drink here, you are +10. And you can just go right into, say, like, crouch, heavy punch. And this whole sequence is airtight, airtight. And look how much drive gauge I can destroy from the enemy. Also, because I'm doing my level 2, I'm gaining a lot of drive gauge back myself, right? So there you go. Like, that's a lot of drive gauge damage, right? And, oh, I guess the level 4 Rekkas have a little bit of a gap in between, but you get the idea, right? There's some stuff you can do. So you get some combo ability and you get some more pressure if you're just looking to delete people's drive gauges. And just more quality life, like uppercuts. His uppercut's always a bit weird compared to everyone else's, right? So the light version has 3 more active frames, so 10 now total, and also reduced recovery. And the heavy and medium versions have 2 more active frames and reduced recovery by 2 frames total, right? So just more active frames, more likely to hit. And an uppercut that is suspicious at best, right? And Bakai, that is breakdance. Breakdance starts up a frame faster. So that's nice. Like, so This is not like the Ryu level changes we're going to go into, but I think Jamie got out pretty good. Like, I still wish the drink system was like different than it is currently, but all in all, I got to say Jamie got out like a bandit here. Okay, so we're on Ryu, and we're going to do this stuff in order of appearance. So first here, crouch light kick. So crouch light kick, -1 on block now. Used to be -3, so if you drive rush it, it's now +3 on block, so it's more advantage. That's nice. Crouch medium punch like any, a lot of the other better mediums in the game. More recovery on whiff, 15 frames now instead of 13 used to be. Worse hurt box, all that kind of stuff. So it's better, it's easier to counter poke a lot of the pokes. Universal just depends which character and which move it is. Interesting, jump heavy kick. Now 10 frame startup instead of 12, so the actual jump in itself just got faster. That's nice. Prox block, proximity block on forward heavy kick. Got its range increased a little bit. So now, you can see here the enemy's walking backwards, right? As long as you're mildly in range for the move, you see here, the character will like kind of stop in their ground. So the proximity block forces them to block instead of just walking backwards, right? So basically, if they're walking backwards and you had the right spacing, it'll be less likely to whiff. If you're way off base, they're still going to walk out regardless. But otherwise, now they're forced to stand and block the move. Heavy Shoryu now recovers 3 frames faster, and now the landing recovery is also faster, meaning Ryu himself is much more advantageous when he knocks somebody down. So basically, you just Shoryu someone, walk up, and then just pressure them, kind of like Chun Li knockdown pressure. This is a strong move to end a combo with, does a lot of damage, and now, like whatever pressure you're gonna do, writes itself afterwards. Very easy to do. Now Hadouken, this is where it gets fun. Party starter. All Hadoukens now do 700 damage instead of 600. So he categorically, for the regular fireball, does the most damage in the game. Ryu is back to being the king of the fireball. The actual fireballs themselves, by the way, now have more advantage on hit. So light is now +2 instead of +1. Medium is now 0 point blank. Heavy is now -2 point blank instead of -3. So it just makes the usual, like, you know, poke into fireball, all that nonsense. It makes it just better across the board. Also, not to get ahead of ourselves too much because the frame data has changed a little bit. I mean, situations like this are going to be a lot more prevalent, and you could take almost half of someone's freaking life with a level 1. So yeah, anyways, we're going to keep going to it. So regular Hadouken, better. And now I would say almost definitively the best regular fireball with all these changes in mind. But it don't stop there. So Denjin Fireball now recovers 2 frames faster overall, and now does more damage, does 1,000 damage. Also is better on block. So literally point blank, Denjin Fireball used to be -3, now it's -1. Cool. How about the enhanced version? Enhanced version now does 1,200 damage. So more damage across the board for the king of the fireballs. Hooray! Shinku Hadouken level 1 super. The projectile itself has gotten faster. That's nice. Denjin, the projectile has doubled in speed. Look at this. That's almost instantaneous. That's like ridiculous. Also, Denjin level 1 now has more hits, so it will decisively beat anything along its way. Now look at all this, right? So literally full screen, a regular Denjin Fireball. Like, because of the speed buff, I got you dead to rights. Rest assured, also an EX full screen, very easy. Like, sometimes it could be done depending on situations, but now it's just, you don't need a situation, right? It just works. We're keeping the train going. It ain't ending here. Level 3? Now it's +14 on hit. So, like, it already sucked to get hit by a level 3 anyways, right? And so now his situation's better. It used to be +8. So now he has more defined advantage over you. And now, of course, level 1 buff, level 3 buff. What about level 2? You better believe it's buffed. So the thing with Denjin burst here is you can hold it, right, for a charge. So now to get to level 2, like the second buff, it now happens a couple frames earlier. This is for regular and Denjin. And before, depending on how it hit, like you would get different effects, right? So like level 3 is a big roll versus like if you did level 1, like not so much the big roll, right? Also, Denjin up. The level 2, the second charge version. Now gives that big roll like the level 3 full charge version, right? And combos off like regular heavy punch. So that's not even optimal damage, by the way. That's just off of level 2, and that wasn't even punish counter or anything fancy. You can do a lot of damage. The boy hit hard. Like, if you've been paying attention for the last few months of buffs, right? They kept buffing Hashogeki, they kept buffing Donkey Kick, and now they buff Fireball, and they buff super damage, and like, there's no aspect of this game Ryu is not exceptional in, effectively, right? He's the poster boy not only for Street Fighter, he's the poster boy for our entire genre. And I feel very safe in saying now, these are the changes that are putting him over the edge to top tier. Because they made him a monster up close with like pressure and all that. And now the Fireball game's back to where it needs to be. With the speed buffs, the damp, like, it's all nuts. Ryu's a threat. Now for Chun Li. So Chun Li's also doing pretty good in this patch. Not like crazy like Ryu or nothing. It's a twofold of good quality of life and also Mai getting nerfed. Because Mai was too strong. And she was too strong in a lot of ways that like ate Chun-Li's lunch. She was like doing a lot of things like Chun-Li's supposed to... Like Chun-Li's supposed to be the good walk speed, good buttons character, right? And then Mai did that too and she did it better. So Mai got nerfed on that front, so Chun is more unique again. Plus all the buffs. So let's talk about it. So like many other characters, crouch medium punch, like poke button, it's a bit more recovery on whiff, better, worse hurt box on whiff, all that stuff, sure. And now here's a fun one. So crouch heavy kick, you know, just generic sweep, sure. I got a pretty sizable range boost. Yeah, eh? What? Yeah. So like at ranges where crouch medium kick would like decidedly whiff. The problem was before crouch heavy kick I had the same range. Now it's got like 20% more range than it used to. So that's pretty big. Now, to be fair, they made it more negative on block now because you kind of have to. So it's now -9. So most characters can sweep it back, but maybe not everyone. That's going to be subject to some lab in here. But there's now an actual tangible value to sweep because now it has more range as a low. Versus before, you just did crouch medium kick because there was no point in sweep for the most part. Another fun change here, overhead. So overhead's now +2 on hit. Okay, so what does that mean? That means if you drive rush it, +6. What's 6 frames? Crouch medium punch. So therefore, that is a combo now. It does have one less active frame, and she does have some setups where it can hit on the last active frame, but overall, just drive rush, overhead, now just being able to go right into crouch medium punch means you're going to get more overwhelming offensive power. So we might lose a setup or two, but I think that's definitely worth it. So this is a charge change here that also will affect Guile when we talk about him. But Kikoken, you charge and then, you know, kind of leaves the screen, right? So you can now wait for it to dissipate. And as soon as it dissipates, you can throw another one. It basically just gives you just a few more frames to toss out another one. So you can fill the screen with more Kikokens. Because Lord knows there's been a lot of times where like, I'll do this. And I'll do that again. And like, I'll just like hit forward heavy punch or something. Because like, it's like, oh, the window's not over yet. So basically when the projectile disappears off the screen now, it is actually just gone. And you can go directly into another Kikoken. That's great. Now here's some changes. So lightning legs, obviously signature attack, right? They made the move faster in a lot of ways. So the light version is now 5 frames. Chun has issues punishing certain moves, like say Jinrai low, right? -5. What's my 5 frame move? Oh, doesn't reach. But now it will. Also, they changed the move so it has a different punish counter effect. So in situations like this, or like versus Bison scissors, you can now easily get the punish counter and just knock them back with it and like do stuff. Also, they extended the window that you can go into level 3 by a few frames, specifically 3 frames. So it's not huge, but it basically, like say, block a Jinrai, and now gives you a lot more potential that you literally just didn't have before. Now let's say we have medium kick legs, right? 12 frames. What does that matter? So here we are in the old build, right? Notice how this does not combo. However, if we go to the current build, that is a natural combo. So you can now go for lights and get light, or rather medium legs, and it will combo. So that gives you new combo routes. It gives you a bit more reach off a light. So basically, it's just a way, nice, just get a bit more damage. That's nice. I can definitely take more damage. Thanks to these various changes, there is also new combo routes mid-screen. So that's interesting. Remains to be seen the full extent how this all will go out, but hey, more is better, right? Also, keeping with the love here, EX Lightning Legs now does more damage. So the base hit by itself now does 1,000, used to do 800, so 200 more damage. Now also has a punish counter effect. As you can see here, it knocks the enemy down. So before, it didn't have that. So now you can use this as a punish counter move, considering it has 8 frame startup, right? It's actually quite fast, so you might be able to get things you normally couldn't get. And then potentially all new punish counter combos, right? So play around with it, right? There's just new things to have. Also, EX Air Legs has increased blowback, meaning basically combo potential is up now. So at minimum, it's just going to be easier to do stuff like this. Like you can go like level 1 or whatever afterwards. That's another thing where I'm sure there's going to be more routing to be discovered. Just good quality of life. Okay, now Tensho Kicks. The unreliable anti-air, right? So first off here, the first hit now has 3 active frames just to make it that much easier to hit. The hitboxes for all versions are extended upwards. Doesn't matter which version you're using. So it's out there longer and hits further up. And it's easier for the second hit of the enhanced version to connect. And also the heavy version also has more, and on top of what we already just said, more increased hitboxes. So I'm not going to say it's always going to work forever every single time now, but it's going to be more overall reliable. So Chun, good quality of life all around here. Should be getting some of her, just kind of her shine back now that Mai's nerfed a little bit and she has good quality of life buffs. How about JP? So JP is pretty much unchanged, and therefore he's doing pretty good. JP's a pretty good character, y'all. So the few things to note, I guess, this is one of them, not necessarily universal, but a lot of characters have this change. Crouch medium kick, if it's a combo starter, now has additional scaling. That's fine. EX Strebo, this guy here. So the second hit specifically got a damage buff to it. So it now does 800, the second hit. Now, this is only for the second hit. So if like just somehow the first one doesn't connect, right? So that's a damage buff to a more spaced version of the move. Just like the crouch medium kick here. The ghosts, if you start a combo with a ghost, the next hit will have a slight additional scaling to it of 20% instead of the usual 10%. Not the end of the world. And that's it. Otherwise, he's the same character. He's the character that won Capcom Cup. Pretty alright character. Again, Kakaru, thank you very much for the colors and the skins coming our way, because I did vote for you because I knew what was up, because I knew JP was a winner, and the fact that he's basically the same character means he's still a winner here. Don't take lack of changes like a negative here. He's very strong in this environment. Now for Manon. So, hey, we love to have fun here, don't we? All right. I don't know how many of y'all are going to be happy with these. There's a pretty distinct difference in that the Japanese audience thinks she's a very strong character. Over here in North America and Europe, I don't think we agree as much, but she did not get a lot of love. So one of the things, so stand medium punch got some of the nerfs, like, has more recovery, all that kind of stuff. It is also, funnily enough, more negative on block now. It's -2 instead of -1. So strict nerf for stand medium punch. Crouch medium punch, just like many other moves, subject to poke whiff attacks, if you will. So 15 frames of recovery now from 13, and the hurt box is also expanded on the last frames just so it's easier to counter poke. Crouch light kick is now -3 on block, so this is a buff. It used to be -5, and therefore on a drive rush it is now +1 on block, when before it would have been negative, so that's a small buff. If crouch medium kick starts a combo now, there'll be advanced scaling, which is fine. Many characters have this specific nerf. And then we get to the target combos. So these guys here, medium punch, medium kick, and heavy punch, have been changed up specifically on punish counter. So if medium punch, medium kick, punch counters now, it creates this sort of like slip knockdown effect. It's a hard knockdown, no tech possible, instead of like the vacuum effect from before. And so this is plus 32, so at minimum you can like dash and back heavy punch forward or something like that. If you time it correctly, it can hit way later in the active frame, so back heavy punch will get more advantage than it normally would, which is nice. The one, I guess, heavy punch is a launcher now. So before, like on regular hit, it would just bring you in. On punish counter now specifically, and it's a pretty alright button. It's not too difficult to like imagine a scenario where you punish counter someone, right? So you do it, you can just bring them in and they go flying. And from there, you can use EX wheel kick and re-juggle them, and then it's just kind of a whole thing at that point. So now instead of the mix, you get guaranteed damage. So, you know, decent guaranteed damage isn't exactly her strong point, so that is nice. And if you're willing to invest just a bit more drive gauge, then you can also get a medal out of it. You know, it's 3 bars. It's not the cheapest investment, but, well, you're not playing this character because it's easy, right? So, that I would say is a categorical buff, right? If you get that situation now, you're just going to get a lot more damage from a juggle. And around point, the wheel kick, the light version specifically, no longer knocks down. So the other version still knock down. That's medium and heavy. They still knock down. Light one leaves them standing with you at 3 frames of advantage in poke distance. Sort of nebulous change. You know, she's in poke distance, which is not nothing, right? And she is in throw distance as well. So you could argue like a little bit of strike throw going on, but it really depends on how many buttons you hit beforehand. But I don't know. That's it. That's all. You could certainly fairly argue she could have used a bit more, but you take what you can get. You could certainly, and I would say fairly, argue that she deserved more, but the patch is what it is, and that's what we got. So now Kimberly, some interesting changes. For one, crouch medium punch, subject to the nerf we already mentioned many times here. So more recovery on whiff, expanded hurt box on whiff, all that stuff. If she starts a combo with crouch medium kick, it'll be slightly more scaled, as we mentioned with some other characters, and we'll mention for more down the road. So now when it comes to buffs, one of the big buffs here they got is that her target combo, so light punch, medium punch, heavy kick, this guy here, it's been changed to a bounce knockdown. So it's not a bounce like you can combo from it, but it's a bounce in that, well, since they bounce, they're on the ground for longer, right? So look at that. That's 49 frames of advantage. If we can seamlessly, which, you know, hey, like for all these seamless transitions here, if we seamlessly switch over the regular knockdown, 26 frames. So I think it's fair to say that, you know, 49 is a bigger number than that, right? So it just gives a much longer knockdown and perfect time to maybe set up some spray paint cans. And also spray paint cans have changed up a bit now too. So when doing the enhanced version here, light and medium or medium and heavy, the explosions are now more staggered. So you can do stuff with it. So with staggered explosions at minimum, you know, hey, more combo routes, you get a bit more inventive. And you do like something like that. I don't know. I'm no Kimberly player. I'm sure you can do better, but just to give an idea what is possible, right? And like, this hurts. That hurts bad. And also, it makes the old throwing the bomb a lot better because with, well, double explosions, you can get more options going on. To help with combo ability as well, jump heavy punch. Got a bit of an expansion to his combo ability, so he can use it to re-juggle, which is really good. And of course, with all these changes, it definitely makes her throw a lot better because you now have way more combo opportunities off a throw. And that's one of the, you know, the classic Kimberly mix-ups, right? Am I going to throw you all the bombs just on the ground? So yeah, nowhere near optimal. I'm sure you can do a lot better than that. But, you know, off a throw mix, that's a pretty good chunk of change. I think you would agree, right? So Kimberly here is some interesting changes. Like, Kimberly's still Kimberly, to be sure, right? But, you know, focusing on what made her traditionally strong, like one of the attractive elements of the character with the bomb mixes and all that kind of stuff. Giving better knockdowns to help provide that, because, like, you do that, that's +5. It's exactly enough time to throw them, right? And then you throw shenanigans or mix or whatever. And the fact that they're staggered, like, lets you do just multiple mix, right? Like, okay, mix 1, next second bomb explodes, mix 2, all that. So, I don't know, Kim doing more Kim things. Okay, Marisa, let's go for an unqualified success story here. So lots of changes across the board, and they pretty much all help nicely. Some are smaller, but hey, well, let's start with it, right? So crouch light punch. 4 frames advantage now. 4 frames advantage off a drive rush or a punch counter means 8 frames. You know what's 8 frames? Back heavy punch. So now all of a sudden, new combo routing. Nice, we can take that. Also, it's been changed on block as well. So it's now only -1 on block. Used to be -3 on block, which also means if it's off a drive rush, like you're screaming with a drive rush, it's now +3, which means you're going to win with the throw if you just both mash, right? So you just run in, and if you get the hit, boom, and if not, well, maybe still boom anyways, because now it's more plus anyways, regardless, or maybe throw or whatever. So that's buffed. Great. Crouch light kick is now +2 on hit. Used to be 0 on hit, meaning now say we're going in with a drive rush, it is now 6 frames. You know what 6 frames? Oh, stand light kick is 6 frames. So that means like just more opportunities. Okay, that's nice. Crouch medium kick is now +3 frames. Used to be +2, meaning off a drive rush, it is now 7 frames. So this means this now goes into the target combo and all the shenanigans from that. And this is where like the meta changes affect this. She was one of the biggest victims of just random perfect parry, right? Because you knock down and you only had 2 choices. You knock them down, like, okay, am I gonna do my big wind up move, whatever it may be, or am I gonna try to throw you? That's it, that's all. And people could just perfect parry the move, wind up move, and that was it, and you get got. Now, because you have to properly parry the direction, they're adding more threat matrices. So now you have to parry this low if you want a perfect parry on that, right? So now this has more options. So now, because this has more options, like there's like real things that can be done from it, and it means that you can't just perfect parry everything, which means now all of a sudden charge back heavy punch off a drive rush, forward heavy kick, whatever, those become back on the table more, because you can't just stand parry everything, because now she has like this, she has that, she has more things to drive rush at lows to change like what is available to perfect parry. So it's a meta change thing, but like these buffs help with that quite a bit. Charge heavy punch can now be canceled into supers, which conveniently goes into the full charge version of her level 1. So how about more practical damage for the character that already does like the most damage? Because the charge version level 1 scales pretty well at the end of a combo. And that hits pretty hard. So, not bad. Good little change. Okay, so raw damage is always good. How about a little utility? Heavy punch, just a base target combo, is now always 42 frames of knockdown, which is exactly the magic number for safe jumps. So, anytime you just let her rip, you know, especially in the corner, everyone loves a good safe jump because it makes your life a lot easier, right? And just it's literally all the time, no fuss, no muss. That's cool. Also, Phalanx, big Superman punch, right? They changed it so the hurt box at her feet during the majority of the move here is now higher up. Specifically, certain low angle moves were sort of difficult for her to get around, and now it's easier to get around. Hey, that's nice. And also, this applies for like everything. So even like certain like actual like, you know, crouch medium kicks or whatever, just easier to Superman over and just punch people in the face. Also, Marisa sucks versus jumps. Like this is well known, right? And we're getting a little bit of a blessing here. So of course, I'll go back to big punch, right? The light version specifically, always had a good amount of upper body invincibility, although as you saw, the hitbox was never that great, right? So that was always a thing. That was nice. The medium version and heavy version also technically had it, but the upper body invincibility was like literally her head only, not like the torso. Now the medium version has the same kind of invincibility against jump attacks that the light version does, which is great because specifically, catch people in the air, it has that bit of a bounce effect. So at minimum, like, you know, you can air reset people. You can get more damage than just like the light version, which is normally the more reliable anti-air, which is nice. And because the bounce is on the table, depending on the angles and all that, you can get like supers afterwards. So on bad jumps, she can shut them down a lot harder with more reward. That's good. Defense is not her strong suit. So anything to just make people a little bit more scared to do dumb stuff is a big boon for her. Speaking of more utility, defense, level 2 super. You now have a very small amount of air control over it. You can hold left or right during the startup, and it'll slightly influence her in that direction. So say, normally you jump in, right? Big whiff, because that move sucks versus jumps. But now, if I hold back during it, she'll correct upwards and like closer just a little bit. So it's another tool to help call out bad jumps. Versus like before, she could just like go flying off into the other way, right? So that's nice. Also, it's just a bit more invincible at that. That's great. Now, here's another, this is an amazing one. She has a wake up now. She has a real wake up with level 1 super like a normal character. So normally, if you do level 1, you hold it, and someone hits you, you get that like counter follow-up. That's really cool. Now, you will also get the counter follow-up if they throw you. So say you're getting throw loop, because that stuff ain't going away, y'all. The throw triggers that now. So Marisa has defense against throws. That's huge. That's huge. Like, she can play like a normal character in the game now. Where if she can call you out, she can actually do something. Like, what a concept, right? You know, everyone else can just go brrr and just like do shore you or something. But Marisa can play the game. Also, how about stealth buffs? This is not in the patch notes. I rechecked, I refreshed, it's not there. So normally, if you want to get like a light hit confirm or whatever, you do something like this. And then you do that, right? So now for light uppercut here, cortical back punch, the second hit is now cancelable into a super. That's nice. Sometimes it won't always work depending on the angle, but like that's doable. But it's now cancelable to any super. What? So now you can do things you couldn't do before. Like we mentioned here, the medium uppercut here got the same upper body invincibility the light version did, right? So obviously the light version being faster is still more of a reliable anti-air. So you can use this and clobber people naturally. So if you're looking for the fast anti-air, now you can add some sting to it, is what I'm trying to say. Now you add all these things together. Is she top tier? No, she's not top tier, right? But are these added all together? Very good. Yes, her offense is better due to the system mechanics changes. It's not as easy just to shut her down with a random tap parry, because now you have to guess, is this gonna be an actual low? Is this gonna be a mid? Whatever. And then of course, when you start pairing everything, like worried about getting your head caved in, you got all that, more combo routes, more potential, better defense. Defense is what she's bad at. She can actually defend herself against throw loops. On multiple levels, her offense against a bad jump is better because now we got the stealth buff. But the fact the light uppercut can now go into any super, not just level 3. And the medium one now has the same upper body invincibility against jumps that the light one does. So all things told, like things are looking pretty good for Marisa. Poor Lily. So Lily got nerfed like many characters did, except she has so little going on. These nerfs hurt more, right? Like a lot of people, the pokes got nerfed and it's like, well, we got other things. Lily doesn't got other things. Like she got some buffs, but let's go into it. So one admittedly blessing here is her forward dash goes just a few pixels more. So that might help create new setups. It'll take time to figure that out, but it goes forward a bit more. That is admittedly nice. Crouch light kick also has less pushback on block. So it helps keep people in pile driver range. That's nice. Now, a lot of people complain about crouch heavy punch. And like, I get it. You hate it because like it's the one be all wonder move, right? Because she has nothing else. Like it gets spammed because that's the only move she gets. Got nerfed. So this move has an anti-air hitbox associated with it. And it'll still, for the most part, do its job. Like if you got the read, like you'll get them. but also it had a kind of a hitbox just like directly above her that could sometimes snag people on cross up, which admittedly would be frustrating. But you know, she didn't have much. Why are you taking it away from her? So they took it away from her. So the anti-air hitbox behind her no longer exists. So it's just more difficult for her to, well, one, stop cross-ups entirely, and two, some more like deep, regular jump angles can now be more difficult to deal with. Jump medium punch is now special cancelable. That's something. It's specifically only jump medium punch though. The target combo does not special cancel, so only the first hit. Back heavy punch has the hurt box nerf, like many other moves. So the expanded hurt box around the body now disappears later and just remains till the end of recovery. So basically it's just easier to tap her while she's doing it. So, okay, fair enough, universal nerf, but she doesn't have much. Now here's another one, they keep doing this. If I'm missing something, please post in the comments below. But they buff the target combo again, and like, sure, I guess. So first hit now is faster, so it's 16 frame startup, but like, still kind of whatevs, right? Like, they'll rather do crouch heavy punch, right? It is now also a bit more safe on blocks, 4 frames. So at right spacing, it's basically completely safe. It was 5 frames, -5 rather, before. And other than that, like they keep changing the hitbox on the follow-up hits. So, you know, that keeps getting a bit better, but I'm not really found any practical use for it. Once again, if I'm missing something, please let me know. I would glad to be enlightened. But otherwise, this is a move they keep buffing to like no real regard in the end because it doesn't matter in the end. Buffed light Tomahawk Buster only on the second hit. So when you get those like weird gimmicky combos they introduced that only work on standing players, right? So there's a bit more blowback on that. So like some of the gimmicky follow-ups afterwards are a little bit easier. Still droppable, as you can see here as I dropped it. But like there you go, you can go to sweep all that afterwards. That's good quality of life. Maybe something new might be able to hit that I'm not aware of at the moment, but that's there. But the real buff, this is the one significant buff. Medium Buster. This is the regular version, doesn't have to be enhanced. Medium Buster now works off lights, no matter what. And I know at that angle, if you played Lily before, you're like, well, is that standing only? No, it is not standing only, thank God. So this is crouching, standing, it doesn't matter. She has an actual combo off light attacks. What a, like, if you don't know Lily, like before, you had to burn bar. Like, I know that sounds silly, because it was silly. Why would, no one else would accept that in the character, but for Lily, you had to take what you can get. So now Lily has a basic functional combo, like a fighting game character should. Kalu Kalay, what a wonderful day, right? File under, you take what you can get, because there ain't much else. It's a legitimately good buff for her to be able to get anything off lights. Now, one quick thing, don't get it confused. It says 42 frames, so you're like, oh, safe jump knockdown. A normal character, yes. Keep in mind, Lily has a slower jump than everybody else. Lily's jump is 45 frames. Everyone else has 43 frame jumps. So it's not quite the same, but the knockdown is still admittedly quite good. Like, it is nothing to like talk bad about. And as for the level 2, looks like they just made it more invincible. So that, you know, not bad. It's not what people would argue that she needed, but that's something. So unfortunately, Lily is still in struggle territory. She's just a character in desperate need of a rework. I like that she can combo off lights like literally every other character in the game. You know, a basic function, 2 years in, she can do that now. That's something. But, you know, the fact that like the anti-air got nerfed, the whiff punish on that, like, I know it's like more than universal stuff, but it doesn't matter because she has so little. The universal stuff disproportionately affects her nerf-wise. They need to rework her. She needs to be a different character. This character, now that Marisa got buffed, she's unequivocally the worst character in the game. There's no more argument. Before you would argue Lily or Marisa. Now it's absolutely Lily's the worst character in the game. And until they do something real, it's gonna remain that way for the rest of the game's life. Now for Juri. Juri, you don't gotta worry. She's still one of the better characters in the game. And they're not messing with the formula right now. Some smaller changes, but you kind of want it that way because I feel like if she has the spotlight shown on her, something bad's gonna happen. But yeah, the worst happened to her is jump heavy kick. It's always been a very annoying jump in because you can do it like at the top of someone's head. Very difficult to anti-air because of the timing. It's now less advantage on, it's still advantage on block, but it used to be more advantage on block. Now it's only going to be +1 if you do it like the best possible spacing and timing. She has some of the hitbox, hurtbox nerfs that other people have, like stand heavy kick has more of a hurtbox around it when she's kicking, because that's just how it is. The big pokes in the game are getting nerfed, so they're easier to whiff punish. But same here, medium punch, just another frame of recovery, so 15 frames of recovery instead of 14. A fun change though, back heavy kick, the axe kick, right? So now this is +2 on hit, so there's more frame advantage. What does that get us? So here we are in the older build of the game, right? So here it's -2, so if we did something like, say, drive rush into heavy fuha, not gonna happen. It's not gonna go, but with just a few more frames in our way, now it will, right? So you can get a few more combos in situations where you have like, you know, more significant frame advantage, just because there's a few more frames advantage by itself, and thus we'll go into stuff like that. Also, they're giving a move a kind of a specific purpose and tapping people's toes. So they've changed the hurtbox and hitbox accordingly. So right there, that's a good example right there. So specifically, it's worded here: reduce the hurtbox around the feet from 3, for other frames 3 to 6 backwards. And notice here, Juri player, talking about the feet. Gotta wonder, right? And also slid the attack hitbox on the 3rd active frame, I'm assuming this means the 3rd active frame of the 2nd hit, downwards, so the attack can beat the opponent attacks aiming for the feet easier. So once again, Juri, all the buffs here, like, they're feet related, because they know what you are and why you picked her to begin with. And besides that, cortical forward medium, just ever so slightly less pushback on hit, just so it's easier to link if you're like a non-angle. And that's about it. Juri works. She's a good function in the game, if you will. She's pretty strong, you know, not tippity top tier, but definitely one of the better characters in the game. And I don't think they want to mess with the formula on that just yet. So just some good quality life stuff and remain strong. So now Dee Jay, they're not the best changes on paper, but I actually like a lot of these. Like, they're pretty okay. Like some, like stand heavy punch. So stand heavy punch is one of those deals where, like, you know, if you hit from further away, it can potentially lead to certain combos. And now if you hit from further away, 3rd active frame or later, it pushes back less, because sometimes you can hit from like too far away and then you're pushed out too far. This is actually an example right here, but that you can't even hit anything after the fact, right? So now it just makes your life just a little bit easier on that front. Also say like crouch light kick here, reduce pushback on block and hit. So it just makes life easier on that front. Like, due to the change, Dee Jay can chain 3 lights, right? Before he couldn't chain 3 lights, and now thanks to the change he can, right? So that's good. So a fun one here, heavy jackknife, the up kicks. So it's now 5 frames instead of 6, and that makes life a lot easier in a lot of ways. Because it's faster, it'll now combo in situations that would completely whiff, say when you're using EX max out, right? So say I use EX max out here, I can still link after the fact, right? And this move gives an amazing knock. It gives a safe jump knockdown, 42 frames, which is great. That's fantastic. And Dee Jay being Dee Jay, if you double dash, he's just on top of people and throw range too. So like, it's a great knockdown, and you can just get it in a lot of situations now. So just a basic punish counter situation here. Like you see here, air slashers, max outs, nothing. 5 framer can't reach. But now through the power of buffs, that's all one combo. That's pretty hard damage, actually, with a good knockdown too. So like, that's good quality life. And then stuff like his forward medium kick, right? Forward medium kick, depending on range, it can be +5 on hit. It can be +6 depending on spacing. It's hard to tell sometimes. But now, since it's 5 frame startup, you can just do this and like, oh, did I get the hit? Boom. You don't gotta worry now. Before, it would only hit on like the absolute max range when it would be +6 on hit. Now, it's a legitimate single hit confirm, because you have enough time to see if it hit or not, and then you just go right into up kicks. That's good. It'll always work now on hit. That's fantastic. Also, EX up kicks, they expanded the hitbox on it if it's in a combo, just to make sure it doesn't accidentally drop. That's good quality of life. EX backsway is now -18 on block. Used to be -22. So if you go into leg slicer right afterwards, it's actually a true block string. Just because now it's less disadvantage on block. You cancel your disadvantage into the thing there, and yeah, so you're still negative, sure, but like that's not bad. Like it's not the worst to be just -2. You're not punishable. You just kind of go for it, and if you see it get blocked, okay, go to leg slicer, and then go from there. So that's another good quality of life. They change it so level 1 super has a bigger hitbox if it's done in a combo. And so once again, good quality of life. Maybe you'll get it and scam it out in certain situations you can't otherwise. So that's good. So certainly not the biggest changes in the world by any stretch, but like it's all just nice. Like it works. Dee Jay is one of those characters where like no one will ever accuse him, at least these days, of being top tier. But like he just kind of does everything pretty well. He's just a really good grab bag of stuff. And now that, you know, things just work out a little bit better, it's nice. I like it. So Cammy, small buff, small nerf. Let's talk the nerf first. So target combo, you know, you can cancel the final hit, right? So we go with like medium arrow, then you do the old double dash. And now, because the target combo, you cancel into it earlier, you're now 0 on double dash. So you don't get easy big pressure, even if they back roll anywhere on the screen. So that doesn't work that way no more. This also means that certain auto-timed hooligan setups won't work the same way because you cancel it into it earlier, right? So you got to rethink some of the autopilot offense. So what do we get in return? Back knuckle. Now juggles better. So if I were to hit you with something like this, that's a thing now. There you go. And of course, naturally, you're looking to spend some meter. That's very much an option on the table as well. And that's about the long and short of it. So kind of out with the old and in with the new. Also, light spiral arrow has a more blowback time when the opponent's in the air. So potentially they need the new combo routes or new setups as well. So play around with it. Basically the old, like literally autopilot setups. Like figure something else out basically. But other than that, Cammy's still Cammy's. She works the way she's intended to, and thus is to the detriment of us all. Now let's get the Honda. So this is the reason everyone downloaded the patch. What's up with Honda? And some confusing nerfs and some interesting buffs. It's not the buffs I would have picked, but well, let's talk about it. So one, like other characters, with the big neutral button. So now on whiff, this is 15 frames recovery from 13. You know, that's kind of how it is for the rest of the cast, so sure, why not? Okay. Crouch medium kick scales more when it's done in the combo, just like many other characters. We also have here the headbutt nerf. So yes, they nerfed headbutt. So heavy headbutt used to do a full gauge of damage, now it doesn't. And medium headbutt does a bit less than it used to as well, right? Their logic is because perfect parry is different now, it's harder to perfect parry headbutts. Which is great logic when this is drive gauge damage on block and not parry. Because even if you did not get your perfect parry, you still would have parried it. So this means nothing. And it actually means literally nothing. You just nerfed Honda to nerf Honda. And you use an excuse that literally doesn't work. Because even if you didn't get the perfect parry, you still parried it and you didn't lose a drive gauge. This only mattered if you just blocked. Then you didn't parry at all. But they're using the new perfect parry change as an excuse. Sure, whatever. Nerfed Honda, they got away with it. I can't stop them. The majority of the changes are about juggles, though. So specifically, like heavy kick now juggles better in a combo, clap juggles better in a combo now, and EX launcher now combos better. In that it gives you more combo potential, to the point you can combo into stomp, and stomp also now bounces the opponent if it hits midair as a juggle. So this means generally just combo potential for Honda going up, and damage as part of it is also going up. Say I got buff up, and you take all these changes together, like that's a good chunk of change, right? Like we didn't even do a super, that's almost 4k damage. Because we juggled better with this, then we got the stomp, and then we drive rush, and we use Pap now has better air juggle potential, so that's good. And we're going to do more damage overall, right? When it's all said and done, we don't know all the optimals. It might be like a couple hundred more damage per combo, but Honda will do a little bit more overall damage. And if you're looking to be a bit silly, you can do the forbidden double stomp combo. As far as I can tell, Stomp has infinite juggle potential. As long as they're high enough to hit and then they'll rebound them, you can just keep doing it multiple times per combo. I've already seen a couple like, 4 or 5 Stomp combos. They're not practical, but they are funny. So there's that. So that's about the long and short of it. Combo potential for Honda is now just better. He'll just be doing a bit more damage overall for like the same rough amount of meters spent. And headbutt on block is worse. The one change actually. The hands, medium and heavy hands. So it has less pushback on hit. So that means as long as you're close enough, when the move is done, you're in throw range. Like you're always a little bit plus, regardless. That's not any different, but you're now specifically in throw range. So before, not quite. Like you can see here, I'm just whiffing. That is not working that way because, well, it just didn't work that way. So now with the new balance patch, as long as I do medium or heavy hands, I'm now in throw range. So potential like the, shimmy mind games, all that kind of stuff. It's just a matter of when are we going to want to find out when they want to do hands versus just like do butt slam and get the good knockdown, do headbutt and get the guaranteed buff. Because just doing hands in and of itself is definitely like not the most damaging thing, especially because they're grounded. So we didn't use a launcher at some point, right? To be determined, I suppose. It's certainly a buff, though. So at whatever point, medium or heavy hands, you hit, you can do basically strike through shimmy. That's the way I'm reading it. So Honda definitely buffed. I don't know if this is the buffs I would have picked necessarily. I'm still waiting for buff. Forward heavy kick goes into hands. Because they let you have it on some other things, but they're just scared to let you have it on the one that matters, right? But I would have to say he's technically better. I don't know if I was looking for more damage. I don't know if that was the issue, but we got it. So there you go. So for Blanka, there's almost no changes at all. I guess buff, crouch heavy punch. So now it does 900 damage and it used to do 800. So just more damage. And they retooled the hurt boxes on it. So it's just better and it's less likely for him to get hit out of it. So they just want you to use this more. Sure, I guess. And the other big one is EX command grab. Now air juggles off everything. It has like basically juggle anywhere property. If you can catch them in the air, it is admittedly a little slower attack, but if you can catch them in the air some way, somehow, then you're going to get it. So it doesn't matter how long or short the combo is. And so that will certainly lead to new routing, I'm sure. But that's about it for Jimmy. Old Blanka here. There's some bug fixes, all that kind of stuff, but that's it. Like, they slightly changed the animation on forward medium kick for how the opponent reacts, but like the frame advantage is still exactly the same. But yeah, that's kind of actually about it. That's it for Blanka. For Guile, another deal of not many changes, although these kind of work out. One, stand heavy kick. So stand heavy kick, if it starts a combo, it will prorate a combo. But now it has +4 on hit versus +3. So by itself, it will naturally combo into, say, jab. So in and of itself, it's a combo starter. It doesn't need like counter hit or drive rush or whatever. But in a combo, it will scale it a little bit more. So, there's situations where that won't work out. But otherwise, I think just the utility going up is pretty nice. Crouch light kick recovers faster and also is better on blocks. -3 on block now, which means on drive rush is +1 on block. So now you have an opportunity to get a plus frame. Because once again, that whole perfect parry change, right? That means they got to crouch block that stuff if they want the perfect parry. So that makes it a little bit more sneaky and better. Player collision hitbox is now much bigger on Knee Bazooka. So specifically, you can't corpse hop with it anymore. So like switching sides with the opponent, it's not going to be a thing. Also, big buff to down forward heavy kick on punish counter. So if you're using like a big combo starter. So the hit stop is bigger than it was before. The combo count's lower, so he has more juggle potential. And also knocks him up a bit higher than it did before. So like direct comparison here. This is punish counters on, right? See how far the character goes? Like that's not far at all, right? Compared to this where they are going for the ride. This is a much bigger deal. So at a minimum, there'll definitely be like new combo routes, new punishes. You can get really fancy with it, I'm sure, with all the juggle possibilities. With Guile, also mentioned with Chun Li, the moment a boom is off the screen is now the moment a boom is able to be done again. So there's not that like weird little grace period of a few frames where you gotta wait to toss the next boom. So you can much more reliably just chuck booms like crazy without just like throwing a boom, then like whoops, you accidentally hit like forward heavy punch or something. So for the charge fireball users, that's just a nice little bonus, good little quality of life. So Guile's always been kind of just good as is, got some good quality of life changes. I feel like not necessarily a character they want to mess around with too much, and thus hasn't changed too much. Ken Masters. There was ever a poster boy for someone who probably could use a nerf for 5. This is the guy, and he got a few, but he also got an insane, unwarranted and unneeded buff. But for one, let's talk the corner. So he's one of the very few characters now that has his throw pressure in the corner kind of curtailed just a little bit. As when he throws you, he still has incredible advantage. Like, that is not going away. Like, even if he dashes up, he's still plus in your face, right? But it's not quite as good because he's pushed just a little bit further out. So let's have a look here at the pre-Patchatron. So you see here, I got Mai in the corner. I'm going to give her an old chuck in the corner and look at where I am relative to her. Now on the current build, all right, same deal. And note here, Ken is just a bit closer in the other build. You know, it's not perfect here, but he's a few pixels closer, right? And that can make things more difficult. So say he's looking to do some throw loop shenanigans. It's not like it's gone, but it's just a little bit more difficult and it's a lot more tight. And some of his other offense in the corner, just because he's pushed out just a little bit, is affected as well. So we take what we can get. Like a lot of characters, you know, hitbox, hurtbox stuff, with Sam medium punch, crouching medium punch especially. So this has 16 frames on whiff, not 15. Most of them are 15. This is 16. So one more. Expanded hurtbox on whiff, all that kind of stuff. Jinrai kicks do less chip damage to your drive gauge. Specifically, they used to do 3,000 points. Now they do 2,000 points. So small blessings, I suppose. Also much the same here. The forward light kick follow-up to Jinrai also does less drive gauge damage as well. Also, there's some nerfs to Jinrai. So before you do the Jinrai and you do like, say the kick follow-up, you got a counter hit, you could be +5. And if you're +5, then you can like do something after the fact, right? Now it's a bit different. So now if Jinrai, the light, gets a counter hit, it just knocks you down. There's no combo possible. There's no nothing. You can pressure them after the fact, like you can do this, dash forward, be a little plus on their face, but you don't get guaranteed damage now. So that's definitely a nerf to Jinrai. And to help with crazy Kens, so level 3 is now more negative. So it's -10 more than it was, so it's now -40. But, so you know that level 2 there, right? Cool little move. It's now -5 on block. Yeah. At a distance that nobody can touch. What? So is it safe? Yeah, it's safe on block. As far as I can tell, his level 2 is now safe on block. So like this is a safe on block super move. What? Why? Like what? I don't get the logic on this one. Why should any super be safe on block? Don't make sense. Like, I can only report to you what it is, right? So it's -5 on block, monster pushback. Ain't nobody got no 5-framer reaching this far, I'll tell you that. And so Ken just has a safe super, I guess. Weird. Like, overall, like, realistically, overall Ken still Ken. Don't get me wrong, right? Make sure to tell your friend if he's a Ken player that he's switching to Ryu that he's a total fraud. Because Ken's nerfs barely exist, honestly. He's still Ken. But if it was just some of the nerfs there, like, okay. Sure, but then safe super? I don't get it. And you can argue Jinrai, like, it's different at least. Like, you don't get the full combo, but, like, with the knockdown and the pressure, you get, like, it's different. It's not just strict worse nerf, right? You lose some guaranteed damage, but you get a potentially interesting setup afterwards. But yeah, so that's Ken. So Zangief went to Fat Camp. Zangief, his hurt box and everything is expanded. So he more matches like his physical presence on the screen in terms of being able to hit him, right? And this doesn't work out great because it kind of nerfs everything for him. So here we are, old build, right? Do headbutt and then go for a regular throw. Doesn't seem like a problem, right? Like, why would it be? But then we go to the current build and here we go for headbutt and throw. Because the hurt boxes are kind of pushing me outbound. Like everything has a little bit less range than it did before because of how the hurt boxes have been tinkered. So this affects effectively his entire moveset. It's not just like a button got worse. It is now easier to counter poke him, and it's a little bit more difficult for him to like kind of navigate neutral because it's easier for him to get hit. And due to the hurt boxes kind of moving around, it's a little more difficult for him to hit you. Also, Spine Buster got nerfed. So here we are from before. And Spine Buster, like, you basically had to kind of like wake up into it as it gave so much advantage if I just dash forward and headbutt. Now, because the frame data is different, like you can still do it, but there's a much wider gap. Like the opponent could hit me versus if they try to hit a button before, that was not going to work. So the knockdown is not as advantageous. It's been reduced by 5 frames. So a lot of setups from Spine Buster don't work the same way. It's not to say that there isn't setups. Like, I can still dash and jab you or something like that, right? But it's not as good as dash headbutt, which is way better. Like many characters, crouch medium kick, if it starts a combo, will do less damage overall. Now, to make up for some of the hurt box stuff, EX Pile Driver got a very, and I mean very slight range increase. So that's something. Also to make up for some of the hurt box issues as well. So Lariat also has the hitbox expanded during Lariat. So certain combos just won't drop anymore. So is this all doom and gloom? Well, stomps. Remember stomps? No, not a lot of people use them, but they're true lows now. Like honest to God lows. Before they were just mids. You could stand block them. Now you actually do have to crouch block these things. So that's something. But yeah, so Zangief is still the best grappler in the game. He certainly leagues better than Lily or Manon, but like, he got hit a little bit. So you just got to think too, like when season 2 happened, right? And like all the big buffs he got. And like that was kind of the peak, but it's still better than where he was in season 1. Like look at it that way, right? People are scared of grapplers. It's that simple. If you pick a grappler, you're here to unfortunately struggle a bit. And you'll be struggling just a little bit more. But in comparison to the other similar characters, Zangief's still the best of the bunch. So Dhalsim got some very interesting changes. Like 1, float. So a couple things about float. 1, when he's on the ground and you like manually float, it's always slower than like jumping and floating yourself, which is why you'll see Dhalsim players randomly go whee into the air. It's not because they meant to, it's because they meant to jump, float, and screwed it up, right? But now regular float's actually a good deal faster. It gets in the air 6 frames faster than it did before. So now, if you want to just like manually float instead of just jump float, like it's more realistic. Jump float's still a bit faster, but it's there. But remember, float technically counts as a special cancelable move, right? And now that it's faster, turns out you can do some stuff. Say you block the big DP, right? And you'll get the big punish. So you can do drive rush, heavy kick, and from there, float into heavy became a combo start. Like it actually all worked because specifically float's just that much faster and now becomes a thing. And like, that's pretty cool. Like, Dhalsim's got some pretty sassy stuff. Like, each patch actually gives them something just a bit more interesting when it comes to like the big punish situations. Also, hey, float. So float is faster now, specifically forward float. So if we'll do here, we're just going to do a comparison test. So here we go. So float from mid-screen to the corner. Let's test it out here. Current build versus old build. Okay, and Inside Baseball, I was editing that together, so I just watched that live myself, and that's actually significant. That's fast. So old floaty Dhalsim still a threat. Now specifically, because float's a threat, they changed jump heavy punch just a little bit. So it has an extended hurt box on it now, so it's easier to hit the float punch, because float punch is like basically his best move. So pretty much everything about the hurt box, the part where you can hit him, is kind of worse while he's doing it, but hey, fair enough. Okay, especially if we're hitting the nitrous now while we're floating. Also a bunch of little buffs. EX Fireball is now 12 frame startup, used to be 13. And the heavy and medium versions, because depending which two buttons you press, will change the Fireball, now have better hitboxes and combos, so that's great. When we have medium Yoga Flame, has an improved hitbox when in combos, that's great. Yoga Up Blast now is better against jumps. They changed the hitboxes up a little bit, and the enhanced version is a good deal better as well. It's not perfect, it's not full body invulnerable, but as long as you're on the ball, you can get your hit in, and because it bounces up, you can go for like Yoga Flame level 1 afterwards, and that does a lot of damage. Also for Up Flame, you now move forward more while doing it, just so it makes it just kind of like your life a lot easier during combos, so you don't accidentally drop it. Now you still can, depending on like the absolute most maximum range of moves, but even then, actually Up Flame, the heavy kick one, that still hit from like max range. That's great. Heavy Flame, Up Flame, they buffed it, so it is slower. It's now 17 frames. It used to be 15, but now it has a juggle property to it. You best believe that doesn't juggle in the pre-patch version of the game. So you now get more combo ability. You'll get more damage, more setup, more whatever you want. So it can lead to basic decent pressure, because like I can do this, get that juggle, crouch medium punch is special cancelable, right? So after I bop you, I can do like a charge fireball. I can toss out a yoga art. Like I can do a lot of different things, right? I can keep the pressure going while getting a little bit more damage. So, just everything about the patch, not huge like Ryu or nothing, but like, it's working out for him. I think it's pretty decent for Dhalsim. So, Rashid, out of the gate, he has some changes like Ken did. So, he now is thrown further out of the corner than he was originally. So, let me give you an example here of the old build. So, you can see here, okay, we're in the corner, and we do a throw. And then we go back to the current build here, and then, okay, let's do a throw. And when we compare, and you can see here now, comparing the two builds, he's a decent amount further away, right? Not wildly so, but enough that it's noticeable. Like say here in the old balance, right? If I just throw you and dash forward, you know, I'm +9 and definitely in throw range. In the new current build, if I throw you in the corner and dash forward, I am not in throw range. So it's not that he can't necessarily, you know, walk forward and throw you or something like that, but it just kind of curtails the pressure. It's not as oppressive as it was. So while it's not weak, it's weaker than it was before. Some changes to spinning mixer here. So for light spinning mixer, it is a 3-hit move. Specifically, the second hit move has extended knockback time, it states, just for the odd situations where you hit with the second but not the third and then get punished. So it just makes that easier. The medium version here, the initial hit goes just a little bit further than it did before. So that's actually a marked buff. It's only a tiny couple pixels, but it's there. Also on medium spinning mixer, the boosted version, this guy right here, is now more invincible. So it used to be invincible frames 5 to 8. It is now air invincible on frames 3 to 11. So as an anti-air, it is like literally just better in that regard, as it has more anti-air invincibility frames. Now, EX spinning mixer, this is a bit of a nerf. This is specifically for enemies who are blocking. This change also affects Akuma, and we'll go more into it in the Akuma section, but only the first 2 hits will affect a grounded opponent, say if they're blocking, right? If it hits them, it'll launch them, you hit all the hits, that's normal. But specifically, if they're not launched, like say they're doing a drive impact, they have armor, whatever reason, if they're not launched, only the first 2 hits will happen, and therefore it won't break armor. We'll talk about that more in the Akuma section. Here's a little buff, so you know, it's not all nerfs here. So enhanced whirlwind shot, the held version. So it's actually faster. So it now starts up in 41 frames versus it used to start up in 44 frames. So it just comes out quicker. Also, the tornado follow-up lasts a few more frames itself as well. Just so you say if you confirm the hit, you're like, oh, I got the hit, I can do my follow-up, all that kind of stuff. So it's just better. Both the initial projectile shoots faster if it's held. The enhanced regular version is the same as it was. And then your little tornado follow-up afterwards for, enhancing your moves, also out for a few frames longer than it was. So, hey, buff. Also, because the move is faster, say we're in the corner here, right? So the target combo medium punch into heavy kick, which is a little bit of launcher. This now, actually the full charge version, will combo in the corner. So as it stood, this is the older build of the game. It does not combo at all, but just because it's a few frames quicker in the corner, it now will combo. So there's new possibilities, new things to do. So it's not like they just took the hammer to his knees or whatever. And honestly, all things told, I think he's getting away with murder because, like, level 2 is unchanged. Like, if you thought this was a serious balance update, you think something would happen there, right? So the fact that it's unchanged, like, Rashid players, you're doing all right. Don't you worry. So Aki has some interesting changes. One you could definitely flavor as a nerf, but also, well, some buffs. So one, Serpent Lash, medium Serpent Lash specifically, is a good deal better. So the move is now 14 frame startup, used to be 17 frames, so it's just faster. Also, it has 9 active frames now instead of 6, so it's out there for longer. So if you're just using it for its intended purpose raw, it's strictly superior. And now, because it's quicker, it just combos from any light. You don't need to use a very specific light, it just works on any light, hit confirm. So you don't nearly need to think twice about it, it just works. So better to use for its intended purpose in neutral, and ease of use in combos. That's nice. Now, there is a change to her burnout pressure. So if you did like kind of the old classic kind of thing here, she can kind of just keep you going for a while, right? So now she's slightly on her stance kicks, pushes you back a little bit more. It's not a lot more, but basically, like, if you're just going for like the usual like block pressure reps while the opponent's in burnout, like maybe 1 rep of kicks and burnout more, or rather less, you would get than before, just because you're pushed out slightly more. Being burned out against Aki, especially because of this move, is not a terribly fun proposition, because you'll never get your turn back until you're basically cornered and then you get drive impacted or something, right? Like, so it's still very good. It's just basically you'll get like maybe 1 less rep of pressure. Another buff here, they changed how stand medium punch works. This is part of the reason why they said they nerfed stance in the kick. So the frame data is not changed, but the way the frames are allocated are different. So if you go stand medium punch drive rush into crouch medium kick, you notice there's a tiny little gap. However, now in the current build, due to them reallocating how the frames work, stand medium punch, drive rush, block, crouch medium kick is all a true block string. There is actually no way out. So if you block this, then effectively that's guaranteed no matter what. And if you block it, you block it. If it hits, whatever, that's great. But that is the thing. So it's airtight now. Also, like many characters, if you start a combo with a crouch medium kick, it will scale a bit more. That's universal for the characters that do that in combo structure, but that's nothing new for her. Also, little quality life buffs here. So stand heavy punch on block pushes the opponent back just a little bit further, which if you spaced it correctly would never be an issue, but the problem is sometimes you don't space it correctly. And it is -4, so it is jab punishable, right? So it's just a little bit more difficult to jab punish it unless you just horrifically space it out. Also, stabby stabs got a little bit of a buff. So for the regular and enhanced version of the move here, if it's in a combo, the hitbox has been expanded just to make sure the combo hits, right? You don't want it to drop. And also the enhanced version has a collision box change, just so it is more difficult to accidentally go over the opponent's head. Now, if you're like point blank, that's on you, but at other ranges, it should mostly work the way you think it should. So less accidental whiffs. So I guess you could say a tiny nerf to her burnout pressure, not even that big, it's very small, but otherwise just good quality of life stuff, and she's eating good. Ed, so Ed got some nerfs. Don't get it twisted though, he's still absolutely one of the best characters in the game. He just got the edge taken off him just a little bit. So like many other characters here, he got a little bit of a nerf to his forward throw. Fair enough. So one here, you might notice here, it says it has 24 frames of advantage. Now, if we go to the older build of the game here, if he were to forward throw you, you notice it's going to be a different number, right? Because he was plus 34. So this is a combination of multiple factors. So it has more recovery, 2 frames more recovery. The knockdown is also less. And so you add it together and you get a pretty wide frame discrepancy, right? On the forward throw. Also, he's ever so slightly further out. It's pixels. It's like actually pixels. Like this is the other build. It's just a couple pixels, but he is ever so slightly further out on that throw as well. So a lot less pressure off a throw. And a lot of that is just because you know, he can throw you and like he can threaten flicker. And here comes one of the bigger nerfs. So flicker, even though it counts as a projectile, is now subject to time stop perfect parry. So when this happens, there you go. I can perfect parry with time stop. And thus, potentially, depending on your spacing, depending on your character, get a punish. Now, it's subject to the new rules. So you have to hold backwards. You can't down back it and do it. You can't walk forward and walk forward, parry on reaction. You'll still parry it on reaction. But if you want the time stop, you have to hold back and then do the correct perfect parry timing. Otherwise, you won't get it. But still, the fact that it's an option against, especially for some characters, for some matches, an overwhelming move, that gives some hope for some characters against this move where there's not much hope to be found. Now, it's not all downside, right? If you give an ounce of poison, you got to give an ounce of something else to balance out the poison, right? So Ed, now, whenever he flickers, he can now cancel that in the kill rush. So he can literally just do it and then the kill rush right in. He can cancel the recovery into the kill rush itself. So he can kind of just go in on you, right? And it could be a surprising deal. And well, to note, this only will come out if it hits. If it's blocked, it will not come out. This only will come out if it connects. And therefore you get like a little bit of pressure because am I going to hit you? Am I going to kill rush and like do nothing and go for a throw? Or am I going to do the old, fake out? Like there's options there, right? So it's a new tool that he didn't have before. Now it's for the best too. He can't do it on block because on hit, he can also kill rush backwards as well, right? So if he's looking like gain spacing out, like do a quick hit and re-space out, like say he's fighting Zangief or something, that's going to be annoying because you can get the hit and then just regain the space. So play around with it, I guess. Other than that, just more nerfs to his meter gain. So uppercut, medium and heavy uppercut, they both gain less super meter. Medium gains 1,000 units of super meter now, used to be 1,200. Heavy gains 1,200, used to be 1,500. Just to, level 2 combos, right? Level 2 combos, hell of uppercuts, and then he just keeps gaining so much meter. And this is something they've already tried to fix a little bit on several fronts. And we'll see if we get there one day. Probably not. We'll come back to this again next patch. But overall, Ed's still crazy. Just throws a little less obnoxious. Because like before, like what recourse did you have really against charged flicker, right? Like not much. Now, because there's just a lot less frame advantage, like you can still do it, but like they have options. They could jump or something, like it's there. Like before with the old build, because of the frame advantage, you can literally hold up forward and it's not going to work because I can literally just grab you. You can't jump out in time. Now, specifically, if I got the read on you, I can at least jump out in time. So, oh no, Ed works like a normal character, right? Like, he's still one of the best characters in the game. Don't get it twisted. Just some of the more obnoxious elements of the character are, well, a little less obnoxious. Akuma! So another character, still wildly one of the better characters in the game, but the edge taken off just a little bit. Some deals here, like Tatsu into sweep. Classic Akuma deal, right? Notice here it says 37 frames of advantage. That's been changed. So originally, here on the older build, it would have said 42. So now the opponent recovers just a little bit quicker than they did before. On the old build here, you can do this, sweep, and just double dash, and like you're literally in their face. They have no recourse against you. It's auto-timed, mid-screen is the big problem. But now, you do whatever combo, Tatsu, sweep, dash twice, now you're -1, right? So It's not that he doesn't get pressure, because he still gets pressure. Just this specific brand of Oki of double dash afterwards isn't as effective. You can still do this, dash once and walk in and still have lots of advantage, but the auto time setup doesn't exist anymore. Now, when it comes to some of the universal stuff, like so many other characters we talked about here, so crouch medium punch, 2 more frames of recovery on whiff, so 16 frames recovery, all sorts of hurt box changes on whiff, so it's just easier to counter poke if it doesn't connect. That's fair. Mostly universal change. Now, Akuma, he's a silly boy when it comes to the spacing stuff, right? So some of that's been changed. So forward heavy punch, fireball, and also adamant flame, heavy adamant flame specifically, all have less pushback on block. So when the opponent is done blocking the move, they're closer than they were before. Just because due to spacing stuff, like he could get away with murder a lot of times. Like he can push people out without any recourse to hitting buttons back. In a lot of very easy scenarios to do so. So now, like a lot of these, like, you know, heavy adamant flame is still safe-ish. And this is, you know, safe-ish. This is safe-ish of space. Like, they're just less pushback. Now, heavy adamant flame, though, another nerf. It is now -3 on block, not -2. So you're more kind of definitively losing your turn. Like with the fact that there's less pushback, they're more close in your face, and you're just a bit more negative. You're not punishable. You're a bit more negative. But yeah, so that as a conclusive nerf to it. One fun change is for Akuma's playstyle. Well, not fun for him, but fun for the opponent anyways. So, you know, he has a chargeable fireball, right? So specifically the level 2 charge version, if the opponent parries that, they now gain more meter than they did before. So there's a bit more reward for going for the parry on that one. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of fireballs thrown when you're fighting Akuma, right? So there's a bit more reward for parrying the charge level 2 fireball. And hey, air fireball, speaking of fireballs, a patently ridiculous move. Everyone knows it, right? Like this is the reason why he's got lower health, right? So now everything still works like the way it did, but now if you start a combo with this, it's going to scale more. Like it already scaled, right? It already started at 20% scaling. Now it's going to start at 60% scaling. Like it's going to go from 20% to 40% you're going to lose in your next hit. So you're still going to do all the same combos, but it's going to hurt less. And fair enough in my books, because he can just get combos in like weird situations other characters just can't, because this move is very silly. So the utility is unchanged, just you're going to do less damage. Now, of course, okay, we got nerfs, we got nerfs, we got nerfs. Can't just be all nerfs, right? So what's a buff? So when you do EX Demon Flip, you can now do Air Fireball Super from EX Demon Flip. So that's a nice little bit of utility that didn't exist before. I'm sure there'll probably be some new combo routing, and like at minimum, like it'll be some dumb gotcha stuff you can do with it too, I'm sure. So he has gained the ability to get something he could not do before. Now, okay, so this is one of the more interesting changes. I mentioned this in the Rashid section. This is where we're going to go into it more. So DP grounded 3 hits normally, but if it hits a blocking or an otherwise grounded foe, it will only do 2 hits. This is specifically to prevent the fact that he could easily break armor on like a drive impact, or like say Marisa doing her charge punch, right? So like in this situations where this is supposed to be the gotcha, then instead he turned your gotcha into his gotcha because he technically could break the armor. That's why this has changed. So here we are on the old build, right? And if Marisa goes for like target combo, there's a gap there when she goes for the EX punch. So before, I can just smoke that stuff, right? No problem. Now, doesn't work that way. I'll still get 2 hits in, won't break the armor, and then, well, then I'll land and I'll die because it's Marisa and she'll break Akuma in half, right? So it's a universal change. Like it affects everyone on drive impact specifically. It's just specifically though, it helps make Marissa's life a lot easier in a lot of scenarios. Also, fun fact, just for Marisa, because we talked about one of her big buffs, is she actually has a reversal against throws now. She never did before. So this armor also counts against level 3 demon. So if you get demon and she does that, like she'll armor through it. So Marisa is now canonically stronger than the raging demon. She can literally tank it and smash Akuma in the face. So not to make the Akuma section about Marisa, but like these changes actually disproportionately affect Marisa more than some of the other characters. So there you go. So Akuma nerfed, undoubtedly. However, undoubtedly still one of the best characters in the game. None of these nerfs are like significant nerfs. Like you'll still get all the combos you got before on Air Fireball, just it'll do a little bit less damage. Like you can be a little bit less annoying with like, you know, just spacing people out on various moves. Like you can still do the old gimmick with Adamant Flame drive rushes. Like that's not going away. It's all still there, right? But yeah, so the edge taken off just a little bit, but conclusively, decisively, still one of the best characters in the game. Bison, another character that's got the edge taken off him a bit. Well, lots of changes. Let's just go through it here. So one of the big ones, Stand Light Punch. So Stand Light Punch has 2 active frames now. Used to be 3. Also has more recovery. Has 11 frames recovery. Used to be 9. So it's out there for less to actually hit and out there for longer to get hit back. Keeping with the fun. It's also worse on block. It's -3 now. Used to be -2. As far as lights go, this was like one of the best ones. You know, it's still good. Don't get me wrong. It's still good. Just been tuned. Let's put it that way. Still a great go-to from Drive Rush, right? Don't get it wrong. Just overall a little bit less deadly. Now, Stand Heavy Punch here. The change specifically is increase the distance of the central axis of the character moves 3 frames before the attack begins. Effectively, what does this really mean? It means his hurt box is moving forward before his attack begins, so it's easier to hit him out of it. It's already one of the best shimmy buttons in the game, but for whatever reason you didn't actually get enough space now, he's a bit closer to you to get hit than he was before the move connects and a little bit after the move connects as well. So it's just all around easier to deal with if you're trying to counterattack it. Standing Medium Kick, really strong poke. So less active frames, 3 active frames now, used to be 4, more recovery, 17 frames of recovery, used to be 16, and also expanded the hurt box downwards. So this one's actually pretty noticeable. So have a gander this here. Notice that? That would have never connected before. So it's easier to just like punish him on whiff on top of the move, just being a little bit more recovery. But you know, okay, got some nerfs, got to get some buffs, right? So how about this? Light Crusher is now 14 frame startup. What does that mean? Well, notice here the older build, right? Light Crusher, not happening. However, in the new build, that's going to be a thing. Look at this. Light Crusher. It combos. What? So yeah, we have new combo routes from lights. Crusher is more viable in that way. And like, that's a very strong knockdown. You can dash afterwards, and it's +5 point blank in their face. That's strike, throw, shimmy distance, right? So why would, you know, don't I want to do backfist? And well, we'll get to it. Well, there's a reason why, right? And also, Medium Crusher also has a longer knockdown. So it basically gives you that same kind of frame advantage as well. So you're much more heavily incentivized to do Crushers now, because you get a very, very powerful knockdown off it anywhere on the screen. But I want to do the bomb. I gotta do the bomb, right? Whoa. Okay, let's get to the nerf. So bomb. Notice here 21 frames of advantage on knockdown. That's not the number it used to be. As you can see here, we're going back to the old build, right? So if we did bomb here, notice here 24. So you have less advantage than you used to have before. Okay. So basically, if you do bomb, and he has Scream and Dry Rush in afterwards because you have less overall advantage, it's not as good. Versus if you go for Crusher, you get guaranteed strong advantage, very strong advantage off of light, like much better than most characters, but you don't get the bomb. So that's the trade-off. You want pressure now, or do you want to set up the bomb and have like not as strong immediate pressure, but you have to thread the bomb after the fact? You kind of got to choose now. However, EX Backfist now leaves the opponent closer than they were before. So that one's actually better. So if you're looking to spend meter, that's the happy compromise. This is actually better than before, but you got to burn the meter. So yeah, once again, Bison's still very good, still very easy, honestly. You could argue less brain dead. Because before there wasn't much of a choice. You just did back fist. You always did back. Like, why would you do anything other than back fist? So now you could say he's more layered. You could say he's more nuanced. I'm trying to spin this as a positive. He's a thinking man character now, right? Do I go big brain and set up the thing and not have immediate pressure after the fact? Or do I just take the immediate pressure after the fact but don't get the bomb? You get so many routes now. You're like Sun Tzu. You're a general. This is your battlefield. Or it's just going like, look at me, set up the bomb. It's like, I'm trying to make this a positive, right? So he's still good. Just now, you got to pick and choose. You don't get pressure and the bomb. You get the bomb or you get the pressure. Pick one. Now, Mr. Bogard. Terry's got some interesting changes. So out of the gate, stand, medium punch. Now +2 on hit. Used to be +1. What does that matter? Well, it matters for quite a few things. One, like have a look here. Okay, that doesn't look like much. Why is that a thing? Because that wasn't a combo before. Medium punch did not go into medium shoulder before in the older build of the game. Now it does. Now it's an actual combo thanks to 1 single frame more of advantage on hit. Cool. Great even, right? Also, it's almost imperceptible, but the hitbox is slightly better than it was before. So it's just actually better. Crouch light kick is now -2 on block. Therefore on drive rush, it is now +2 on block. Once again, this is for the perfect parry changes, just to give him a little bit more of a layered offense. And actually, speaking of that, so round wave, you know, the big blast, right? This is a low now, a low. Before it was just a mid. So this has to be crouch blocked. So if you are standing for whatever reason, this will actually like hit. How insane is that? Like that wasn't needed other than the fact that once again, they're trying to take a move that's nominally somewhat easily perfect parried, right? At least on paper, because you can kind of see the startup. So now they have to crouch block and parry if they want to perfect parry this move. Otherwise, scam it all the way to the bank. Crouch heavy kick, a sweep. So they made it faster. It's 10 frames now. It used to be 11 frames. So as far as like frame data on hit, like it has more recovery now to make up for that, right? So that's still the same, but they just made it faster. So hey, sure. How about the old target combo, medium punch, heavy punch? So as you can see here in the old build, it did 1400 damage, all said and told here. And now in the post-patch build, it does 1470, so it does more damage. Sure. More damage is more damage. Like a lot of other characters, Terry, crouch medium punch, expanded, hurt box, on whiff, all that kind of stuff. Although, does not have more recovery. A lot of people have more recovery. His is the same recovery as it was before. I found that pretty telling because almost everyone else has like 1 or 2 frames added. Terry, although he has the hurt box changes, does not have the additional recovery. Quick Burn has a very slightly expanded hitbox forward, so it can hit from just a smidge further away. And also, it stated here it's a bit easier to cancel into stuff like level 3, so that's nice. Also, much the same here. So Heavy Burn Knuckle, also a bit more lenient in canceling into level 3. So before it was literally a single frame window you had. Now it's a 5 frame window. So, hey, that's nice. Also, Enhanced Burn Knuckle got a bit of a buff when it comes to the hitbox, as in the hitbox is much further upwards. Now, while it's not exactly what I would call like an anti-air, it can hit people in the air just a little bit better, I guess. But it does give us new combo route. So have a look here. This would be before like heavy punch into shoulder, right? So heavy punch shoulder, EX burn knuckle, nothing, not happening, not a combo. But now, here in the current build of the game, totally is a combo, and you keep a juggle point after the fact. So if you're looking for something a little fancy, you can definitely get an uppercut or whatever you want afterwards. So that's nice. Like, once again, I like things that are new. And now we got combo routes we didn't have before. And speaking of combo routes we didn't have before, we got some interesting crack shoot buffs. So for one, medium crack shoot just does more damage. Used to do 700, does 900. That's nice. Heavy crack shoot, sort of like Marisa's Superman punch buff. The hurt box around the feet's been heavily moved upwards. So he's like more aligned to actually go over stuff. And they changed a bit how it works in combos. So you might know, some of the like heavy shoulder delay combos for get all 3 hits of the movement, right? So the hitbox of the 3rd hit is now higher up than it was before. So basically you can get all the 3 hits faster and higher up than you could before. And also, when it comes to juggle potential, the juggle potential has been relaxed a little bit. So you can actually get more combos than you could before. So let me show you something silly. So let's say we're right here on the screen, right? So going closer to the corner. We can get them silly combos. Like comical, right? So now you can get like double Buster Wolf off of this. It's also a lot easier to get a level 2 off this now. It was possible before, if I remember right. It was just like so strict. Now it's a lot more lenient. So like there's some shenanigans here. Once again, I got to keep comparing everyone to Ryu because this is Ryu's patch. He ain't Ryu, but like Terry was already solid, and like these are all nice buffs. Like there is nothing to complain about here. If you are a Bogard fan, you're living large. So Mai comes this patch here. Like her biggest buff is the new outfit. Let's call it for what it is, right? It's very appealing for Mai fans. But yeah, she was a little overtuned, and we're bringing her down back to reality, especially in certain aspects where like she basically ate Chun Li's lunch. So she's not just strictly better Chun Li now, especially with Chun's other little changes. So out of the gate, some of her block pressure, like Stand Heavy Punch. So Stand Heavy Punch now does less chip damage on your drive gauge. It used to do over half a bar, now it's just half a bar. And there's less pushback on block. So the move's safe regardless, you're just not all the way pushed out. And she's still, like, her buttons are still dominant compared to most of the cast, right? But before, if you blocked it, it was a full neutral reset mostly. And then you had to worry about it again, you worry about it, and maybe a special cancel behind it. Like, there was a bunch of layers, so it's just a little bit less annoying. On that note, Stand Heavy Kick, more recovery, 22 frames now instead of 19. And also less pushback on block, because this move had monster pushback on block. Like, look here, older build, right? Look how far away she goes. Like, if you block this, this was a full neutral reset against a character that has better neutral than you, right? And it's a strong poke, and it had a punish counter led into combos. So you blocked it like you felt like a dummy. So now, in comparison, the pushback is way less extreme, right? So you're slightly negative. She's still probably going to beat you in neutral anyways, right? If she mildly spaces it. But it's not just the full-on neutral reset it was. And of course, well, fan toss is the big thing, right? So when it comes to fans, so this is EX fan toss, right? So you now specifically gain more meter when you're parrying the enhanced fans. So it's just something, right? Because like you're already in a losing situation in a lot of ways if you're already just in the way of the enhanced fan or like a charged fan. So it's something. That's specifically the big boost is for the enhanced fan. That gets you a lot of meter. Now the other really big change is when you block a fan, you know, the bounce happens and it's terrifying. But look at this. What's going on there? Doesn't look like much, right? It's like, okay, I'm just walking out of the way. Didn't work that way before. So here we are before. And what's happening here? I'm holding back. Like here, wait a second. Okay, hold back. I can't leave. I don't get to leave. It's tripping proximity block. And therefore, I don't get to walk out of the way. The only way I can walk out of the way is if I was like holding back frame 1. And sometimes not even then. Like right now, I'm holding back the entire time. I don't get to leave at all. Like I would literally like do this, I'd have to backdash out. That would be my only recourse. Now, in the current build of the game, this is the older build of the game, in the current build of the game, if that happens, it's still happening, I can just walk out. I'm not just literally locked into the block animation. Before, you had the backdash. And a lot of characters, backdashing, like either their fat hitbox, there's a lot of problems, right? It's not always ideal to backdash, especially because Mai's going to come screaming in behind a drive rush after you. And backdashing can get you hit, right? So now, it will not trigger like proximity block at all. Like, I can wait till like the last second. Like, it'll only make you block once you actually block the move. That's it. Otherwise, there is no proximity block trigger at all. So the move is still powerful, yes. But you're not just literally locked into blocking it if you block the first one. So, still a move everyone else in the game wishes they would have, but a big nerf. Okay, so you can't have nothing but nerfs, right? So what's the buff? Buff is uppercut. now has the combo count increased. So before, especially for some longer combos, more elaborate combos, like no matter what you do, you couldn't get uppercut to connect after the fact, right? So now, no matter what, as far as I can tell, no matter how long the combo is, you can always sneak in Dragon Blast after the fact. So before there, DP absolutely would have whiffed. Wouldn't have connected. Now it has more juggle points, so you can get it in more elaborate combos. And there's other little tiny buffs, like Ryuen Boo if you're using it like as a poke. It'll gain you a bit more drive gauge, so that's nice. Another character where it's mostly nerfs, but still remains one of the better characters in the game. So, like, there's not too much to complain about realistically. And that is the patch. So it's a long patch. I think this video is going to be almost 2 hours, if not over 2 hours when I'm done with it. But it's still, even though so much happened, it's still maybe not everything everyone hoped for. Definitely with the whole Tekken 8 Season 2 debacle, I think Capcom wanted to play it safer. And these are mostly safe changes, right? Some characters are barely changed, like they have like one thing, like Juri or Blanka, like they work, okay, don't mess with the formula, so small changes. Now, admittedly, some people, like Ryu, got the big changes, some people got bigger nerfs, like Mai did, like, you know, Zangief did with his Turbo Fat Hurt Box now. But overall, it's mostly a play it safe patch. So I hope whenever we have another patch in the future, they're willing to be a bit more adventurous. But I feel like they were terrified of the blowback in Tekken 8 Season 2, and they didn't want to go crazy like that. Still, overall, in my opinion, good patch overall for the health of the game. Good for the game overall. I'll say this till the day I die. Lily needs more. Manon needs more. Jamie, you know what? Jamie, he got some stuff. So maybe of the, you know, the low tier characters, like, and Marisa too. So of the low tier crew, maybe, well, they'll probably still remain low tier. Jamie and Marisa are moving up in the world, and Lily and Manon are kind of like, what's even going on? And Honda, we'll have to see how we optimize these new combos. And for everyone better than those misfits, they're already doing all right, right? So they're living life. They're living life. And of course, you know, the threats will remain the threats. Akuma got nerfed, sure. He's still one of the best characters in the game. Ken got nerfed, and he might be the worst Shoto now. Ken's still better than almost everybody else. Don't confuse it for anything else, right? So, overall, the overall cast power is going up. A little bit of the edge taken off the absolute top, but there'll be more viable characters for competitive play now, in my opinion anyways. And once again, I think just good for the overall health of the game. I just hope they get a bit more adventurous. Like, this should have been Super Street Fighter 6 by now. This is Season 3, right? I want new moves. I want new mechanics. I don't want just hitbox, hurtbox, frame data tweaks. We've been there, done that. Let's do something crazy next time around. And maybe next time around, 6 months from now, I don't know, we'll get there. But for now, that is the patch. I hope you've enjoyed it, my friends. It's been a very long day. We had... the patch is already long enough. Then we had that whole Marvel announcement from Arxis, right? So this has taken me a long time to make. You know, if you could spare a thumbs up if you made it that far to the end here, certainly appreciated. Other than all of that, that is the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.